Uh-oh, I didn't change.
Hi, this is Everett, Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to Simply Drawing with Everett tonight. Doing a little drawing demonstration. I'm broadcasting live to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and later on I'll put it on Instagram. And I'm in the studio tonight with my wife Gloria,
Hello, everyone.
and she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also the chat room. If you got a question or a comment, please put it in the chat room, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Even after the broadcast, if you're looking at this video, you can put a comment down in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Those of you who are first time this in the broadcast for me on Simply Drawing for Everett, we just subscribe to my channel, and you'll be notified of my next video. And give me a thumbs up and a like. I appreciate that. That's good for my ratings. So tonight I'm going to do another drawing, and I found something interesting. I've always been fascinated with this. I found this was laying around, and I found this as a chain link. So it got to me thinking about how I could set this up. And I used the ball for a shadow on the chain link, so that's what I used the ball for. So let me go to my drawing table, and let me get started. Go close up. Okay, there's the photograph over here on the left. Over here you can see the chain. I put this in my my still life setup with a camera and a light, and I put it onto I put the chain onto a wooden block, white block, and then I used the ball to cast a shadow over the item, so it would be a more interesting shape and form with the shadow. So that's what I'm going to draw tonight. I'm really fascinated with how the links go together, and it's a fascinating drawing composition. In my tools tonight, I'm going to have a 2B HB pencil for drawing, sketching in. Then I got 2B lead pencil for shading, and also another 3 or 4 B lead for a little darker shading. I got a blender, a stump blender for blending the shading, and I've got a kneaded eraser for erasing the construction lines. So let me get started. I'm going to start with the HB pencil, and this is good shapes to start with. I'm going to start down here at the very bottom. This link right here at the bottom. I'm going to work up the chain this way. So I'm going to start down here and move on up to the top right. So I'm going to get a paper. I'm going to start right here in the middle, about right here. And let's see. So we're going to start with this chain. I'm going to start with the side. So you get you'll find here that when you draw something like this, it's interconnected with something else. It's a little more complex, but take it down. Just take it piece by piece as we go around. I'm going to get the top corner, and I'm going to come down and get the bottom. And then you got to think about how wide it is and the angles and so forth. Now how thick I want to make it. I'll start here. This is the construction lines. You get the top part going. You get down and get the bottom. It's a little narrow down here, so I'm using a little just checking the angles, checking the shapes. Now this link now comes around this way underneath, so it comes over here. So this is really interesting where they interlink, where they overlap. So this one goes up here, so it comes down, and it comes into this side. This is a fascinating part about this drawing, is that you gotta get the angles and the shapes and the sizes, and keep it moving. So this one goes up to the top. I'm up here now. I'm working on this side right here. Comes up to the top, and I'm going now. This other side comes over here. It's a continuation of this loop here, and it's about that distance apart. It doesn't have to. I'm not worried about being exactly accurate. I'm just trying to draw representation. I'm having a lot of fun just drawing the shapes. It'll come up here like this. That goes about that far. Now this link goes around. Now there's a new link coming in now. This goes part way. Now this third link up here intersects. It comes comes in here and is on top. So the interweave is like the chain link. So it's really like a puzzle. You have to get the pieces together. Let's see, I might go up a little more on that. So my construction lines I make a little larger. Then it come down, and this is going to curve in here. Now this link here now overlaps this side, so it comes in like that. Then I pick it up on the outside, and it comes around. It's on top. Okay, make that look a little more realistic there. Okay, then this side comes around the back. I'm getting the back side now. This was in shadow, but I can still see the shape. Get this back side over here. I may have to adjust some of these before I do a final drawing on this. See, this one comes around, and this one be about right here. So this link that goes in here, you just only see part of it, but I see enough of the shape to draw it in. And then that goes around like that. Then this shape comes back into here. It goes loops there and starts to come back in now. Okay, and this comes around. So I got 1, 2, 3. I got this one done. And this might be a little off on the angle. Might be a little bit off on the angle here. I might have to change that angle just slightly. So I'll take the eraser and move a little bit out of the way. So see, this has this angle here. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. It's going to go around. That's close enough. This last link goes over here, and then there's this final link on the back here. It goes up. I'll just show enough of the portion. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 links. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. And then 5 will come in here. and we'll just finish that off right there. It comes over, it comes up here, and then it'll go out off the picture frame here pretty soon. This is a little longer now. Make this a little longer. Okay. This is a little more shape here underneath. This one comes around a little wider there. Now I'm running out of I'm just getting at the bottom, top of the photograph there, so it pretty well finishes it off right there. Okay. Well, let me double check my shapes now. I've got this one here. This is off at an angle. And this shape here. Okay, so let me go ahead and darken this in just a little bit, so I'm happy with this. Let's see. So I'm using a 2B pencil now. I'm going to make them a little darker. But before I do that, let me show you my construction lines. At least you see my construction. So I've got the 5 links. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's I drew what I saw. And a little bit of contour drawing. Always use contour drawing. Look at what you see and then draw as close as you can get the representation. All right, 2B. So let's redraw this again. Make sure I got the lines I want. Okay, that comes okay. This comes around. This goes up here. This overlaps. I like that. This comes over here. Come up here. Okay, now when I start putting the shadows in here, I think you'll see more of this, but at least get the construction lines. I don't want to put them in real dark until I'm sure I got the right shape. So you start out by making light lines until you're happy with the shapes, and then you start darkening it in. Okay, that's why it may be hard to see this all the time, but you got to just work on the design. This one here comes around. Okay, and this overlaps here behind. This comes around. This one loops over this. This is fascinating how these how you can draw the interlinking locks and make it look realistic. Give a little three-dimensional. And this last one is at the very back here. Okay, all right, I like that. And I'll show you if you can see that. I've got the links drawn in. Now I'm going to do the shading. But before I do that, let me go ahead and put the other objects in. Now I'll draw in the box. Let's see, I got the box in here. It goes, you look at this top right here, this top edge. It's right here at the bottom of this second loop. So it goes about like this. We'll put that in. Then it extends on out. And it goes, let's see, measure from here, do just a little quick analysis, just look at it. It comes down below this bottom link here, and then it angles back off over here again, about right here. So they'll get the bottom in, okay? So that's the side of the block. And this angle here, you see how far away it is from here? About right there. All right, so we'll get that in. That gets the back side, or the side to the left, and then it comes back here. Now it goes through the back of this, comes out and reaches the other corner. Okay, and then it continues on. Okay, it goes off the. All right. Now the shadow pattern from the ball over here on the left. There's the ball. There's a shadow pattern. So let's get that in. I've got. It starts right here at this intersection here, and it has a circular shape. Circular shape because it's a ball. The ball is a circle, so it's going to have a circular shape on the. And this is all dark here. Then it comes around to about right here, and goes on down to the base of the block, about right there. And then it angles off over here. And this comes down about, you see the size here, it comes down about right there. About the middle of the loop. And it comes in like this. Okay, now I can go ahead and put the ball in. The ball is about this far away. So see, I'm using a little bit of angles and distances just by comparing it with the photograph here. And this is a ball. It comes around. It comes this way, and it'll meet the shadow down here. So now I got the ball in. Got the ball. Okay. All right. I like that. I think that's okay. Let me draw that in a little bit deeper now. Let's see. So I like this. This angle here is okay. This angle is okay. It's close enough. You don't have to have it. That doesn't have to be perfect. And the circle is going to come around here, and down here. It's going to come down and meet the shadow there. Then over here, and I got the wall. And the distance from here to here, I'll approximate that. There we go. A little bit of. Okay. All right, then up here, and I can start maybe estimate some of the. I got a shadow, nice shadow pattern on the on the chain. Here's one right here, nice big shadow right here. It comes inside, and then it's inside this loop here, and it starts to angle over here. Nice shadow. Then it comes down here, and this has a shadow. Let's see, I'm gonna bring this down. This shadow comes up here. And this continues over here. It's kind of a weird little shape there because of the angle it's at. It's at this one comes down and curls up, and now it goes over the top of the box, the white box, and it comes and it lays on top, so it goes out this way. Pretty good. And this one there's a little bit of shadow in here. Just a little bit, and it continues on, and it goes under here, pretty well lost under here. Okay, that's the shadow. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start darkening some of that in. Let's see, I'm going to use the 2B pencil. I'll use the 2B. There's also shadowing on the loops, the links themselves. This link here has got a shadow on it, so this is a cast shadow from the ball. I'll put that in, and I'll go ahead and put in some of this darker value here. So this has got a shadow on it, and it comes around about right here. So that's in shadow, that portion right there. That's in shadow right there, okay? Then we come up, there's a little shadow under here. This has a little shadow along the edge. The inside edge is going to have a shadow on it. And then there's a shadow under here. This is a shadow, cast shadow here from the loop, or the link from there. There's a shadow that comes down. So the shadow is going to help define some of the edges now. Shadows always help you define the edges of your object. This shadow goes up the side of the white block, and it casts the shadow. It goes back behind. So I'll go ahead and put that in. Up against the edge of the first loop here. There's a little shadow under here. I'll get that. Goes around the edge and out to the back side of the white block. Okay, then we come down here. I'm not going to worry about that one too much. There's a shadow, a nice shadow right here. On the side of this one, there's a nice shadow right here. This one link casts a shadow on this link right here. Put that in. There's a shadow on the top of this, and this one here, this third 1, 2, 3, the third link, the one that's almost horizontal, it's got a shadow. This is all in shadow here because it's the angle of the light now cuts that off, so that'll be in shadow. This section right here. Then it comes around. This is all in shadow down here. Underneath, the part that's underneath. There's a nice cast shadow here. It's a beautiful. This one right here. There's a shadow here. On that loop right there. And this one has a shadow. It goes partially down, so this is in shadow. About half of it's in shadow there. This is still open a little bit. This loop back here, this link back here is all in shadow at the bottom. And there's a little bit a lighter shadow up here, but it's still in shadow. Just a little bit of it showing there, this corner right here. That section right there. It goes in shadow very quickly back here. And the lower portion is in shadow. Okay. Then also, what I'll do, I'll use this other pencil here, and there's a shadow pattern here for the ball, which is cast on the white black. This will help identify some of the links also. So this is a darker shadow here. So I'll get that in. So I'm going to do as much of this as I can tonight, but what I'm going to, and I'll get this, really to get the links, the most important part I want to really demonstrate is drawing the links. I think they're fascinating, and this photograph's a good photograph to follow because it gives you a good example of how to draw a more complex shape. There are much more this happens to be, as we're going, I'm trying to progress into more not difficult drawings, but more interesting drawings that give you an idea how to draw more interesting topics. This shadow pattern is very interesting. It comes around here, casts the shadow from the ball, the light on the ball. And I set this up on my setup table, my still life table, and I kind of played around with it. I had tried several angles, and I tried different ways to show off the links. And but the only way I could really make it help was put this shadow from the ball over here on it, and put it up on a block to give us some dimension. And so that's kind of what the title of my drawing was. I used the ball as a shadow, and that's how that all came about. And I hope you find this interesting. Now, what I'm going to do here now, the shadow was this way. Well, I'm using long strokes here to get the shadow in. Now this is circular, so I'm going to use more of a circular motion for the ball. So that the pencil marks or pencil strokes will help delineate the shape because they're all in shadow. So I'm not using color. I got to use pencil marks to show the items that are here. So this one here, I'm using a circular motion, circular strokes here, pencil marks to identify the round object. Okay, because there isn't much difference between the edges. The edges are, the photograph you can see it, but when you draw it, you have to have something to identify with. And I think the shadow is a little bit darker than the object, so that would help a little bit. Okay, that's enough of that. Now, the way I would attack the top now is I would put a light, because you see the light's here on this side of the block, but up the top it's lighter because the shadow it's out of direct light. But there is a slight. So I would just take a pencil and just do a very light shading up here, very light. Just put a little bit of graphite up there, and we'll take the blender and we'll smooth that out. So I'll just put a little bit of graphite up here. And also what I want to do is there's a back wall, so I can identify, give it some, this will also kind of locate it in reference to a horizontal or to a horizon line or whatever. So that's all I can see there. All right. So there's the back wall. I'm going to leave the ball white, and I'm going to leave this front wall up here right. And what we can do also is kind of put a very light the wall on this tabletop has got a different value to it. So again, this needs just a little shading on this, very, very light, and also down here to separate that from the white box. So that needs a little, just a very light shading down here. The only thing we're going to leave white is this and this. And for purposes of this, I'm going to leave the links that are not in shadow. I'm going to leave those white also. Because when you're doing pencil, you only have a light and a dark. You don't have you can't put color in there with a pencil, unless you use color pencil. Okay, all right. Now let's get the blender here now. Let's see. Now this, I can smooth this out a little bit on this link here. So this is smooth here on the link. I'll get that started. That one part there. There's a cast shadow under here. I can smooth that out. The cast shadow from the wall is on the white box. It's over here. Oh, I'm checking the. Oh, hi Brazen, how you doing? Good evening. I'm having a good time here with this drawing. I hope you can see what I'm doing and maybe try it yourself. This drawing, the object I think is very fascinating. You know what I was doing? I actually was looking for a chain link, and I found this one just by accident. And it just seemed to pop up when I found it, and I said, well, I can use that. So I use the chain linking here as a model for this drawing, and I think it's turning out real nice. And I had to put a nice shadow pattern on it to make it more interesting shape to play with. And so I think I'm really happy with it. I'm very pleased with how it went out. Okay, now let me up close for you. I've done a little bit of shadows on the links, and I've got the cast shadow from the wall. You can see the circular marks here. And let me go ahead and put a little more shading here, and I just want to smooth out some of the marks. And the ball up here, I can go ahead and see by using a blender, I can smooth out some of the graphite. And I'm doing this very quickly just to give you an idea of how to do this, my approach to it. And of course, you can find your way of how you would do it, but this is how I would recommend, at least starting. And going around here, this top of this white box here is in shadow because it's not in direct light. The only one that's in direct light is this side right here. And this, again, I'll just put a little bit of shading down here just to smooth out some of the pencil marks. And then I'll go back in and do maybe a little bit of fine tuning with some of the marks just to tune it up a little bit. Just so back here I also shade this in, putting a little bit of difference between the value of the wall and the value of the tabletop. There, okay. Now what I can do now is just very quickly I can make this a little bit darker here, just to make sure that this object is separated from the wall and from the edge of that. Okay, just all I got to do is just put a little mark up there. Okay, and this shadow here can be a little bit darker to differentiate that from the cast shadow, a little different from the shadow on the box. So you can always go back in and do a little fine tuning. This part is all in shadow right here. You don't see that at all. See, this link right here is all in shadow. So you have a little lost and found here. They call that when something goes into another color or to another value, it's called a lost and found edge. So this is a lost and found edge. You can't see that because the shadow and the object itself has got the same value. So it's a lost and found edge. But you know where the rest of it is, so your eye is just going to make up the missing part. The parts that's missing, you're going to make up with your imagination or interpretation of the shadows, interpretation of what you're looking at. Okay, and the ball over here, I don't have to do much with that because I'll just use a little circular motion here and just kind of fill in the gaps. What I would do here is I would make the edge of the ball a little bit darker here and make that different in order to separate the ball and against the shadow. I would darken this up just a little bit here to differentiate between the round shape and the flat shape, and bring this in a little dark. This is almost the same value there as the cast shadow, so bring that right on top of that. Okay. And then there's a dark line. I can put that in. There's a dark line. It's the shadow of the underneath the box, underneath the white box. I can bring that in, make that a little darker. Underneath, that's the shadow of the edge. Okay. Okay. Well, that's the that concludes the drawing on it. And I got a couple of things I want to show you real quick. But that's the drawing of what I see here. And I got the cast shadow from the wall. I got the links. I got the links defined. But see, it's so hard to see because it's just black and white. So let me show you a couple of things I've done. I did one earlier. I had a little more time to do it. So you can see here, I increased the intensity a little bit on the shadow. You can see here, if you make the darker you make it, the better the differentiation between there. Okay. So there's a drawing I did earlier when I had time. Now before I started, I did a small one. I did it on a little 3x5 card. I wanted to play with the configuration. So I did a small venture of it right there. And then later on, I was so interested in the color, I transferred this to a piece of watercolor canvas and actually did a colorful version. Now there I used the colors of the actual chain, yellow. This is watercolor on watercolor canvas. And this is a little bit of Payne's gray I use for the shadow pattern. But that's my interpretation of that chain link using watercolor on watercolor canvas. And you can see the dimension of that one. That one turned out really nice. But this is color. It's real easy to make something in color shine real nice. It's a little bit harder to make something in pencil. So all you have is black and white to work with. And here's a good representation here. This is the black and white. This is the one I did tonight, which is a little faster. I did a little faster motion here. And here's the one I did previously with a little more time, a little more definition to show you what it would look like. Take your time, put more values in there, make those links show up. Okay, that concludes my demonstration. Oh, a fantastic trick I have learned to filter a subject and determine what value they have to squint slightly. Yes, of course. To check values, absolutely squint your eyes and you can see the values of anything, especially when you're outdoors looking at a landscape. You want to differentiate the value, just squint your eyes a little more, and then the shapes will show up. Keep your shapes very simple. Cast shadows value on the brick, yes. You can see from the photograph, you see the cast shadow on the it's pretty dark shadow down there on the cast shadow on the brick, yes. And I tried to do that on both. I tried to do that on both drawings of here and here. Make that cast shadow really dark on the brick. So. Okay. That concludes my. Well, I answered the question.
There's one,
Yeah.
increasing the contrast.
Yeah, you can, as I said, I showed, you can increase the contrast, you can add more darks to it, and that's, it takes a little more time. There's a one I did a little earlier, but I took more time and put it a little bit darker. So that gives you an idea of if you want to darken up the contrast, okay? All right, so let me go back to my main camera. Okay, those are good questions and good observations. I
And
appreciate that.
we have the comment, I think you did a great job on them all.
Okay, number one, I was fascinated with the subject, the chain link. That's what started my idea of doing the drawing. The second part was to try to find a reasonable way of setting it up to make it an interesting shape, not just the links sitting on a table or whatever. So I put them up onto a block, and then I added a shadow to it using a ball to give me a shadow pattern. So that was the idea of setting it up. So there was several decisions I had to make on the best way to do that. And that's part of composition. When you set up something as still life, you need to play around with the object, play around with the angles, play around with the shadow patterns, and then come up with the best solution. There's all kinds of solutions. There are many ways to do something, many ways to take a look at it. Then you take a photograph of what you like to see. So that's kind of a little trick of setting things up.
Comment, I learn something every time from you.
Well, thank you, Brazen. I appreciate that. Yes, in fact, when I look at other artists doing, I look at art probably every day. I look at somebody painting or demonstrating something, and you always learn something, somewhere, somehow, because everybody has a different idea, they have a different solution, and so forth. So it always helps to look at other things and stay educated. Okay, I'm going to be back again next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. for Simply Drawing with Everett. I'll be back Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. with drawing my watercolor class or watercolor demonstration. And on Sunday, I'll put out a little video for anyone can draw with one line only. If you haven't seen that, check me out. If you're subscribed to this channel, you'll be notified of that video. It comes out on Sunday. Anyone can draw with one line only. Very short, but to the point. And I think you'll enjoy this one. This one I'm going to draw something you all know what it is, and I think you'll enjoy that one. So until next week, you all stay safe. The weather's getting very nice. I'm going to go out this weekend and do some painting and drawing. So I look forward to seeing you next week in my watercolor class, in my demonstration drawing. And so next Thursday, I'll be back and see you again. Until then, you all stay safe and take care. Bye.